Hey, it's Friday, time for that history brief. So today we're going to talk about one of those always read the plaque moments where we're going to talk about some names that are on campus that people may hear all the time, but they probably don't know and they probably don't understand correctly. And so these are three wings of the McNutt Center that are named for Filipinos who attended IU. So today we're going to talk about the McNutt Center, and if you've ever been there, you know it's got a north wing and a south wing, and those wings each have names, and there's three wings in the south and three wings in the north. The three south wings are named Bacobo, Delgado, and De Hoya, and these are named after IU alums who came to the U.S. in the early 1900s from the Philippines as part of a program. Now you have to remember at that point the Philippines was a territory of the United States, and so the U.S. had a program where they selected 100 students in the Philippines every year to come to the U.S. to get their education. And we had at least 7 of those folks that came to IU during that period. And these 3 all came to the IU Law School, which back then was not a graduate program, it was an undergraduate program, and graduated from it. And we're going to talk a little bit about who they are. So first up, Jorge Bacobo. So Bacobo was born in 1886 on the island of Luzon in the Philippines. And he came to the U.S. To go to IU Law School, graduated in 1907, went back to the Philippines and started practicing law there, became a law faculty member at the University of the Philippines, and then he was dean of the law school there, and then eventually he was president of the University of the Philippines before serving on the Supreme Court of the Philippines. And in 1951, he came back to IU and got an honorary doctorate from IU. So Francisco Delgado was born in 1886 in Bulacan province of the Philippines. He came here to IU, went to the law school, graduated in 1907. He actually started practicing law in Indianapolis briefly before returning to the Philippines. When he returned to the Philippines, he practiced law. He served in the Philippines National Guard before being elected to the Philippines House of Representatives. And he had this sort of political career that was going on. And then he became the resident commissioner of the Philippines here in the U.S. And so for territories of the United States, they have a resident commissioner who then represents them to the Senate and the House and to the political side of the United States. And so this role is kind of like being an ambassador, but since it's for a territory within something that the U.S. controls, then you are resident commissioner. After World War II, Delgado would become the ambassador to the United Nations for the Philippines once the Philippines got its independence. And the third of the group, Mariano De Hoya. Now, De Hoya is interesting. So one of the challenges I found with trying to find information on him initially years ago was that on campus, we very often put his name together as one word with a capital D and a small J. And that's often how it appears in records, but it appears to me now, looking at records from the Philippines, that it is actually appropriately spelled with the DE being small and then the Hoya being large or being capitalized. Born in 1887 in Batangas, Philippines, and again, I think I'm saying that right, but I'm not sure. Came here, went to the IU Law School, graduated in 1906. He had a public law career. He served as a prosecutor and a number of other roles in the Philippines, but he was also a professor at the University of the Philippines and other schools during that time. He briefly served on the Philippine Supreme Court and then became legal advisor to a number of presidents of the Philippines after their independence. So I said I would bring it all back together for McNutt. So Paul McNutt, who McNutt Residence Center is named for, was IU alum, faculty member in the law school, had a number of U.S. political positions, but then was High Commissioner to the Philippines in the 1930s before World War II, and after World War II, he was ambassador to the Philippines after they had gotten their independence. And so I think when they decided to name the center after McNutt, they made a decision about, well, hey, we want to tie all these things into the Philippines, because the 3 northern buildings, which are named for Frank Crone Marone, Harvey Bordner, and Elmer Bryan. All three of them are IU alums who went to the Philippines and did work in the Philippines, generally in the education system over there. So the entire McNutt Residence Center is tied into the Philippines and the complex history of the U.S. with the Philippines, and makes for this interesting sort of case study of the complexities of those relationships. All right, so there's your history briefing for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to put a little bubble up here so that you can click it to subscribe, and there'll probably be a link that pops up to a previous video as well, so feel free to check those out. And remember to subscribe and follow us on YouTube so that you can stay up to date through the bicentennial.